After his Oakland Raiders sent the Cleveland Browns tumbling to their ninth straight defeat, John Madden said, "They're the best 0-9 team in the league." These hollow words failed to stir Cleveland head coach Forrest Gregg, whose stiff upper lip has turned to granite and his smile into a permanent scowl. The winless streak has been tough for Gregg to bear since he was once a key part in Vince Lombardi's marvelous Green Bay Packer machine. It's also been tough on the whole Cleveland Brown organization, whose history is one of the richest in professional football. Names like Graham, Lavelli, Motley, Speedy, Brown, and Warfield used to roll off announcers' tongues like words in a classic song. Now the cast of characters are numbers instead of stars, and tunes of victory have been replaced by the steady whine of defeat. In the season's 10th week, the Browns' fortunes seemed no brighter as they met their arch rivals, the Cincinnati Bengals, a team with no glorious traditions, but a team with immediate ambitions of going to the Super Bowl. On the surface, it looked like a mismatch. Maybe if it was another team, Cleveland would have folded up their tents and crept silently to their 10th straight defeat. But the Bengals bring out the beast in the Browns, and they brought out the best a burner like number 26, Billy LaFleur, had to offer. What separates the pro from the amateur is pride, for like so many winless teams, the Browns had no lofty pretensions, but professional pride. Their goal was not to be glorious victors, but glorious spoilers. However, LaFleur's 92-yard return was a Pyrrhic victory for him, because on the play, what seemed like a harmless muscle pull or twisted ankle turned into a broken leg. What LaFleur did provide was a season's worth of inspiration that was translated into a Greg Pruitt touchdown on the very next play. Pruitt's score was just the Browns' 10th touchdown in 10 games, a poor track record and a bad omen when you consider the speed with which the Bengals can ring up points. Cleveland's game plan dictated the run because the Bengals' pass defense was the best in the AFC, and their quarterback Mike Phipps had not thrown a touchdown pass all season. This strategy bore fruit when Pruitt rocketed down the sidelines on a 50-yard explosion. Even in this dark season, the talents of Pruitt have shone brightly, and it was on his winged feet and Don Cockroft's sturdy foot that Cleveland built a 9-0 first quarter lead. All Paul Brown teams are made of sterner stuff, and the once beaten Bengals were not about to fall over dead in Cleveland of all places. The Bengals possess one of the most fearsome offenses in football, and their passing attack under cool Kenny Anderson is the NFL's best. It was only a matter of time before Anderson isolated one of his game breakers in the Browns secondary. Tight end Bob Trumpy, number 84, cut the Cleveland lead to 2 points at 9-7. So far, the Cincinnati defense had been unable to meet the challenge of Greg Pruitt, the Browns' only bona fide weapon. But deep into the first quarter, the Bengals swarmed toward number 34 like bees to honey. With their will-o'-the-wisp buried under a wave of white shirts, the Browns were forced to pass, a tactic that somehow has been misplaced this season. Even when pass plays are well conceived and well executed, The results are usually ruinous for Cleveland, and this was never more evident when number 88, Steve Holden, fumbled within sniffing distance of 6 points. Turnovers have mired the Browns in defeat for 9 weeks, and Ken Riley's fumble recovery seemed to stamp Cleveland losers once again. Defeat becomes an unending tunnel for a rookie like number 1 draft choice Mac Mitchell, number 70, whose every mistake is magnified with each succeeding loss. You can afford few mistakes against the Bengals and Ken Anderson. Anderson attacked the extremities of the Browns secondary with bullets to his wide receivers and floaters to setbacks on the fly. To open up Cleveland, Anderson ran Isaac Curtis through the formation and filled this void in the defense with his big backs, who remorselessly bit into the Browns for valuable gains and ultimately a touchdown. Rookie Stan Fritz edged the Bengals into the lead 13-9. Another look at his score reveals that when the Browns' number 70 Mac Mitchell and number 20 Tony Peters were caught inside, there was no one left to stop Fritz at touchdown's door. Leading 13-9, the Bengals' gluttonous offense began to gobble up the Browns' secondary. Instead of trying to piecemeal Cleveland, Kenny Anderson used Isaac Curtis and Bob Trumpy in an attempt to bomb their defenses back into the Stone Age. However, the Bengals ranked next to last rushing in the NFC, and the absence of a running attack unleashes an opponent's front four. The Browns utilize the speed of Mitchell, number 70, and change-up blitzes by linebacker Charlie Hall, number 59, to unravel the blocking patterns of the Bengals' offensive line. The Bengals overcome such a decided weakness because of Anderson's unerring accuracy under fire and a core of excellent receivers. Number 18, Charlie Joyner, runs meticulous patterns, while Isaac Curtis is simply a comet streaking on course for the end zone. Curtis averages an incredible 20 yards a reception, even though he is double covered in every game. A second look at his touchdown documents Anderson's perfect protection and the ability of Curtis to beat the coverage of a zone defense both short and deep. It takes a confident, though maybe a foolhardy person to show up a much maligned secondary, especially in front of their hometown folks. But more than being an intimidator, Curtis is a showman, and his 5th touchdown of the year gave Cincinnati a 20-9 bulge over an increasingly desperate Cleveland Brown team. Trailing by 11 points with just over 3 minutes to play in the first half, Mike Phipps played beat the clock with a barrage of passes. To call Phipps' career a disappointment would be a gross understatement, for after all, the Browns gave up Paul Warfield in exchange for his draft rights. But in all fairness to Phipps, he has often operated behind underfed and overworked offensive lines, where often the safest place to be was not in the passing pocket. The promise so often predicted flowered at least in this game, as number 15 generaled the Browns within sight of 3 points as time died in the first half. just 2 ticks of the clock left, Don Cockroft booted his second field goal of the game, and after 30 minutes, the score stood Cincinnati 20, Cleveland 12. Leading 20-12, Cincinnati had first possession of the second half, and Ken Anderson wasted no time in hitting on a very long pass. Charlie Joyner had beaten rookie cornerback Tony Peters for 41 yards all the way to the Cleveland 5-yard line. Peters had been exploited by Cincinnati in his pro debut on opening day, and today, 9 weeks later, was no different. But here with the ball on the 5-yard line, the Browns' maligned defense turned tiger. 3 straight cracks at the goal line brought the Bengals virtually no yardage. And number 20, the rookie Peters, got a measure of revenge by coming up fast to nail Booby Clark for no gain. When Stan Fritz was speared by veteran safety Jim Hill, number 49, kicker Dave Green was brought in for the 3 points his foot provided from 21 yards out. The Browns' defense had a touch of glory, but the team trailed by 11 points, 23-12. Mike Phipps, who had a fine 12 for 20 first half, began the second by hitting 3 straight completions to Reggie Rucker, who would catch 6 in all for the day. The former Patriot receiver has been an important addition to the Browns this year. The Phipps-Rucker combination set up Don Cockroft's 43-yard field goal, which brought Cleveland a bit closer to Cincinnati, 23-15. When the Bengals returned to offense, Ken Anderson, who had suffered badly bruised ribs, was replaced at quarterback by John Reeves, the 4th-year veteran from Florida. Reeves couldn't get his team out of its own backyard, and on 3rd down had a pass batted back to him by tall Turkey Jones, who has returned to Cleveland. The Browns have exceptional height at defensive end, with the 6'6" Jones and number 70 towering 6'8" Mac Mitchell. 4th down now, and facing an eager 9-man front intent on blocking the punt, Dave Green barely got his kick away in the end zone, as this unusual look from the kicker's vantage point shows. Unfortunately for Green and the Bengals, the punt went directly to dangerous Greg Pruitt, who dodged and danced his way for 27 yards deep into Cincinnati territory. Cleveland didn't score on this series, but the next time they had possession, they moved steadily downfield on the accurate arm of Mike Phipps. After hitting Oscar Rohn for 16 yards to end the 3rd quarter, Cleveland began the 4th with another pass, this one to number 88, Steve Holden, the former Arizona State superstar. Holden, a 1st-round pick who has never quite lived up to his vast potential, made a nice catch over the middle for 15 yards and a 1st down on the Bengal 12. Two plays later, Phipps floated the ball to huge Oscar Rohn, who took it to the Cincinnati 5. Rohn, the Browns' 3rd draft pick this year, is another tree-topper at 6'6", and on the very next play, he showed what an advantage height can be. From the 5, Phipps, behind perfect protection, looked right, then spotted Rohn isolated on Bernard Jackson, merely a 6-footer. Let's take a second look at the stunning catch by Rohn, who played freshman basketball with Bill Walton at UCLA. After playing basketball his freshman year at UCLA, Rohn transferred to SMU, where he concentrated on football. Also, it's not a bad idea to attend the alma mater of your future head coach. The rookie surprised everyone in Cleveland by beating out Milt Morin for the starting tight end position. Morin is merely considered the finest at his position that the Browns have ever had. There should be quite a few more moments like this one for talented Oscar Rohn, who had brought the Browns to within 1 point, 23-22. With the Bengals unable to move against the Browns' defense, Mike Phipps soon had the ball back. And though this play only gained 7 yards for Cleveland, It demonstrates an important change in Mike Phipps. Though he often risks danger by running and his courage has never been questioned, Phipps has been a phlegmatic personality. But lately he has been showing some fire and has been speaking out boldly about team matters. This new attitude may help him finally reap the benefits of his great athletic ability. For after 6 years in the NFL, the shadow of Paul Warfield is finally lifting. On the next play, Phipps got even the very best possible way. Greg Pruitt had burned 48 yards with the football, and Cleveland was now on the Cincinnati 15. As we look at the play from a different angle, the surprising thing to note is that safety Tommy Casanova was able to catch the speedballing Pruitt. Two plays later, Pruitt finished what he began with a twisting, turning journey past 6 Bengals into the end zone. Cleveland had gone out in front for the first time since the first quarter. It was quite a day for Greg Pruitt. 121 yards rushing, 106 receiving on 7 catches, 63 yards on kick returns, a total of nearly 300 yards total production, as well as 2 touchdowns. This is the kind of day Cleveland has been missing from Pruitt up to now. Today they got it, and Cleveland was winning. For the first time since the first series of the third quarter, the Bengal attack clicked when Charlie Joyner again got behind Tony Peters for the bomb. The gain was a large one, 51 yards, and now with the ball on the Browns' 16 and knowing a touchdown would put them behind, the Cleveland defense dug in deep. Four straight passes were incomplete, and Cincinnati gave up the ball on downs. The next time Cincinnati got possession with time running out, Reeves tried for the Joyner-Peters combination again. But Jimmy Hill, number 49, had anticipated the call and was waiting. The 7-year veteran safety went 56 yards for the touchdown that put the game out of reach of the Bengals 35-23. There is irony that the clinching play of the game came from a member of the Browns' much maligned pass defense. We're starting with the Bengals game in Cincinnati opening day and continuing until the 6th game of the season against Washington. The Cleveland secondary has been riddled by opponents' passes and deep-seated controversy. What had been expected to be a team's strength had become a shambles, precipitated by an early season-ending injury to Tom Darden, the excellent free safety. A veritable shuttle system of new players further unsettled the situation, but in recent weeks they have come together, and the scores against them have diminished. Today, led by one of their new additions, the veteran Jim Hill, late of Green Bay, Cleveland's defense may have turned the corner. But the accolades weren't finished, for on the kickoff following Cleveland's final touchdown, the Cleveland special teams got into the act by forcing a Cincinnati fumble. This final blow may have been a tribute by the special teams to their leader and best tackler, Billy LaFear, who is now resting in a Cleveland hospital with his broken leg. LaFear's 92-yard kickoff return had opened the game. The special teams had virtually ended it, as all Cleveland had to do was run down the clock, which was easily accomplished. For Forrest Gregg, it was an exciting first victory as an NFL coach. For his counterpart, Paul Brown, founder of the Browns, a surprising and bitter defeat. only the second for the Bengals this season. For Cleveland, it was only the first victory in 10 tries, and the club has a long way to go. But at least on this day, in their home stadium, the players discovered the joy of leaving the field with head high to the cheers of the Cleveland faithful.